October 1st, 2007. Dear Diary, I had the best daydream at work today, Diary, but some asshole had to ruin it by calling my name over and over and over on the fucking CB radio. I guess technically I was still on the clock, but I thought everyone knew to gently bump the gate open if I wasn't there to push the button. What is wrong with people on this job site, Diary? They can't take their own initiative? Oh, yeah, my new job. I didn't mention that I got a construction job, and I already got a promotion if you can believe that. I am site gate opener and security guard. Well, the boss tried telling me that I was just a security guard who sits in the guard shack and opens the gate. But I said, hold up. I'm going to be opening gates too? Long story short, I was able to force him to correct my job title to site gate opener and security guard. He rolled his eyes at that, but I can tell I earned his respect by not backing down. But you know what? Hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me go back a little and explain. This morning I hadn't even gotten off the floor until noon, and it was like walking in cement shoes to even get my ass out the door and down to the job site to apply for the job. I got my foot in the door here by cleverly padding my resume. I may have exaggerated a tiny bit about my experience driving truck. The important thing is they bought it. By the time we were shaking hands on the deal, it was almost quitting time, at least by Armstrong standards. But they put me in an old clunker and told me to get in line with the other rigs. We were hauling demolition debris to the landfill. I probably should have dialed it back a little bit when I was bigging up my skills and experience, because they had me pulling 2 trailers. Suddenly, it occurred to me. It probably takes months to understand the nuances of maintaining several tons of trailers as you maneuver it all serpentine through traffic, your life and the lives of the motorists around you in your hands, an unspoken contract with your fellow man to respect them enough to not do anything reckless which could affect them and their loved ones. But more trailers, more loads, more money. After all, it was nearly beer 30, and that is one hell of a motivator. I climbed up into the cab, and after grinding the gears for a good 3 minutes, I got the old girl moving. At that point, I wasn't about to wait in some line of old farts who didn't have anything close to Kayla Marie to head home to. I took a look around. Model homes lined the street on both sides. The development that we were at had its grand opening coming up in a week, so nobody was actually living in any of them. I saw the newly sodden lawns, bright green and freshly watered, and I knew what I had to do. I gave my horn a couple of fuck you blasts and I roared around those geezers. I probably left a wheel mark or 2 in the lawns, but it's nothing a couple of Mexicans can't fix. That's what they get paid for. I'm giving them job security, actually. You know what? I gotta remember to hit them up for a few bucks on payday, for helping them out. When I got up to the front of the line, I had quite a bit of speed. I hung a sharp right, which caused both trailers to swing out violently until I'd spun around 180 degrees. It scared the shit out of me, but to cover my ass, I acted as if that's what was planned. I popped it into reverse, backed up to the skip loader, and then I leaned out casually and said, "Fill her up." The truth is, between you and me, that was not planned. I had dropped the smoke from my mouth, and when I scrambled to save it, I leaned in such a way that my belly had caused the steering wheel to turn abruptly, and then everything just spun around maniacally. I glanced into the side view mirror just in time to see the caboose swing around and come within a half a foot of wiping out the fire marshal. He was there doing some code inspections. Boy, the look on his face was priceless. I'm sure he got a kick out of it. What's that, Diary? Oh, the smoke I dropped. Yes, I saved it. Yeah, thanks for asking. It was a tense few moments, but the Armstrong reflexes saved the day again. Oh, let me tell you about the fellow running the skip loader. So he tries telling me that the old truck that I was in was not rated to pull 2 trailers. I told him to cram it and load them up above the rim. My brother Roy, he's the one brother that isn't a lying, stealing, thieving, cheating asshole. He said that truck companies always downplay the truck's ability. It's a trick. It's a truck trick. It makes people buy a more expensive truck. Here I was, my first time ever hauling 2 trailers, and the guy was telling me how to do my job. When I was loaded up, I gave him and all the old-timers the finger, just to show them that I was the one to watch out for. Then I put the pedal to the metal and I roared off the job site. Now, in hindsight, I may have been traveling a little over what would be recommended for the size of load that I was hauling. As I cranked the wheel to make the turn onto the street, the whole rig and both trailers listed heavily to the side, and I took the corner on 9 wheels. I didn't have much time to react. I blew right through the red light, nearly wiping out a school bus before rolling truck and trailers onto their side. All I can remember is sparks, flames, and noise as I slid to a stop. Climbing out through the busted windshield, I was greeted by the sight of rocks and steel and shit spread all over the road as far as the eye could see. I glanced back to the cab of the truck, and I saw that I had even busted up that little digital camera that I was given as a farewell gift by one of my last jobs in Maine. It dawned on me that if I didn't think fast, that camera wasn't going to be the only thing busted. But my quick thinking saved me from being fired and from having any criminal charges filed. I began shouting, "The brakes didn't work! The brakes didn't work!" Then, taking advantage of the black smoke that began to engulf the front of the rig, I dipped in and quickly found and cut the brake lines. Then I made my way to the sidewalk and I stood with the crowd, chuckling to myself for having the genius sense to cover my ass. But then I remembered my lunch had been 4 Bud Light tall boys. What? Don't judge me, diary. All construction workers do that. I know I always have. It's the best part of a shitty workday. Well, anyways, remembering my after-work 99-cent whiskeys in my back pockets, I took out 4 or 5 of them and tossed them back, saying that I needed them to settle my nerves and making sure plenty of witnesses saw me do it. You see, if you drink alcohol after the accident, but before they test you for alcohol, they can't bust you for an OUI. Fact. I know this because one of my stints in the Hooskow had me bunking with a real-life professional jailhouse lawyer, and he shared with me his amazing knowledge. Not only was he a lawyer, he was also an ex-Green Beret, sniper, jet pilot, Navy SEAL, judge, CIA operative, a chef, and one of Madonna's former lovers, and a roadie for some rock band I never heard of, Knives and Roses or something. I asked him if he knew the Rose song, and he just looked at me strangely. I told him it was a country song, and he just said, "Oh, they don't do that shit." And then he started to get violent, screaming, "Live and let die," and something about slash, so I just faked passing out so he'd stop. Luckily, he stopped and fell asleep himself. Nice guy, though. He was very pleasant before all that slashing nonsense. Jail has the nicest people. So anyway, the foreman had heard all the screams and the explosion. He came down to find the truck in flames, plus a huge debris field that had spilled from the trailers. Man, the Mexicans were going to be working all night to clean that up. "You're welcome," I thought as I followed the soup back up to his trailer. In the end, he only yelled at me for about 15 minutes or so. I think my tears probably stopped the worst of it. He said that as there was suspicious damage to the brake line, and they technically couldn't fire me until a full investigation had been carried out. Well, I'm paraphrasing a bit here, but he said it was cheaper to promote me rather than fire me and replace me. Oh, and then, grabbing me affectionately by the shirt collar, he pulled my face close to his and said, as long as he was in charge, I would never drive truck again. Just when I figured I was a goner, boom, I get a promotion. Can you believe it? And that's how I ended up in the guard's hut. It's a fact that guards are more important than truck drivers. I have a more comfortable seat, a better air conditioner, and a great radio. And all I'm supposed to do is push a button to open and close the gates. Oh, and check workers' cars when they leave to make sure they're not stealing anything. And make sure everyone coming onto the site has signed in, check their ID, and that they have a hard hat. And the most beautiful part of all this, they're only withholding 55% of my paycheck until they can decide if the accident was my fault. I know, right, diary? I will soon be able to afford food for me and Bud. Other than that grumpy old supervisor, I can tell you that the rest of the guys really like me, and they know how hard I work. I had to man the gate that last hour of the workday, and I had guys jumping out of their trucks, handing me beers, telling me not to even worry about coming out in the hot sun just to check their cars. They were offering to check their vehicles themselves. I mean, how helpful is that? They are good guys, and obviously very honest, or they wouldn't offer like that. One guy told me I could go ahead and put my head down and take a nap. "Oh, don't worry about the gate," he said. I can hold it for my buddies. Well, I told him, hey man, you're gonna end up doing my job for me. But all the fellas agreed. They hoped that I'll be working there forever. We all had a good laugh. Anyway, I started telling you before about my daydream. I was imagining my precious little princess the morning after the night before, rolling off the floor and standing up, her pert little butt peeking out from my best button-up shirt. You know, the slightly nicotine-tinged white shirt that I wore to my first job interview, the 3 funerals I've been to, my second job interview, my court case for my OUI. You know the one. Yeah, my only button-up shirt, exactly. So I was imagining her walking into the bathroom, taking off the shirt and then throwing it back onto my floor drobe, and then just standing there naked in all her beauty. She asks if she can play with Bud as she runs a warm bath. Of course you can, I assure her. I set my 5-minute timer and then place a towel at the bottom of my door, and we commence our wet and wild loving. The stupid asshole on the CB caused me to miss out on the best bit, but it was still wonderful, just as it will be in reality when my plan to bring my baby girl back to my apartment eventuates. I have convinced KK that she will need to have all her baths with me. That way she can hold on to my crank for stability. So for this magical weekend at least, I'm prepared to splurge with my water usage. To offset that, I'll also be doing all of my clothes washing in the bathtub, and using the bubble bath as a multi-purpose detergent, shampoo, and body wash. Oh, and to wash my hands with, of course. Maybe even for having sex. The worker got really rude when I asked her where to find the bubble bath for teenagers. She glared at me and told me that bubble bath is only for little kids. Bitch, my future wife has requested to have bubble baths with me, and I assure you she is no child. Thanks to the new security cameras at the laundromat, the manager there said I can't do any more free laundry. I think that's crap. I mean, the slugs that I was putting into the coin slots, they have value. And they don't even have a sign that says you can't do that, so they get what they deserve. I mean, a man has to wash his clothes on occasion, and their prices are outright extortion, robbing me of a solid $6 a year, and that doesn't include drying. I was thinking of taking my clothes to work in a bag and hosing them with the pressure washer when I wash my truck, but that won't be happening now, so I may have to go into Walmart and buy some new threads for my date with Kayla. The Mexicans next door are driving me crazy with their Mexicanity, what with them playing those stupid mini guitars and their stupid grass skirts. I was so annoyed at them that I was determined not to take them to the store anymore. That was until I heard Jose talking to Jose B about a birthday party that he was planning and a barbecue pig that he had ordered. Well, you don't have to be a rocket surgeon like me to know that where there is a birthday, there is beer. Plus, free secondhand smoke from the barbecue and the other smokers. I plan to wait until it's in full swing, then go over to complain about how loud it is, maybe flip their breakers a few times, an awesome little trick that I learned. And when they're acting all apologetic, I'll agree to stop turning their power off if they let me stay. And obviously, diary, where there is free food and free beer, there will be me, armed with a bag for snaking free beer. Hopefully there will be a lot of smokers there too for easy butt collection after the party. You know, to sustain my boring shifts at the guard hut. Well, diary, it's getting late, and I have a long shift in the guard's hut tomorrow. Time to load up some footage from my virtual spank bank and make the bald man cry salty tears. I'll talk to you tomorrow, diary. Good night. I gotta take this moment to thank my very honorable and esteemed patrons.
Dummy Dad, Kelp Pill, TechRec71, Cat G, Wes Most, Michael's Teacap Channel, Ramiro Son, Teacap Recipes, Aerogo, Gram, M1A, Dr. K, Tiffany Lockhart, Amanda James, Joey's Teacap Channel, Michelle Simpson, Joran Comedy, Uriel Gray, Moody Booty, The Lorne Identity, Nathan Ramon, and the ever-present, always adorable Gooey Goo.
And thank you all for watching, for commenting and showing an interest. And if any of you ever want to be in a video, hit me up. My email is in the description. You don't have to be a patron to be in a video. My patrons get first dibs, but people don't always have time. Take care of yourself. See y'all later. Bye.